Greetings and welcome to the Dicey Cantina. I'm Andrew, your host and GM. And can you believe today marks 1 year that we've been on the air? It has been incredible creating these fun and engaging stories for a franchise we all love. We've had the opportunity to meet many wonderful Star Wars podcasters, and our second season is looking like we'll have even more wonderful guests. Additionally, we recently crossed the 5,000 download threshold, which just blows my mind. So, since it's our podcast's birthday, we're celebrating all of these milestones by bringing you a gift. For the rest of February, we'll be running a giveaway for some cool prizes, which we'll give you details about at the end of the show. Because that's not all. We went and did one better. We got the actual Professor Sunny Ravencourt from the University of Coruscant to come and speak to y'all about the history of our wonderful planet Druckenwell. You're not going to want to miss this. So, take it away, Professor Ravencourt.
Hello. My name is Dr. Sunny Ravencourt, but you already knew that. So why don't we get your money's worth and I get this lecture over with? Let's begin. Druckenwell is a planet in the Dolder system and is smack in the middle of the Corellian-run hyperlane on the border of the Mid and Outer Rim. It has essentially become the gateway to the Outer Rim for that end of the galaxy. What seems like eons ago, Druckenwell was founded as an industrial Corellian colony. Knowing that they would allow corporate guilds to govern the planet jointly in a merchant oligarchy, you guys familiar with a word that long, oligarchy? Well, look it up. They went through an elaborate effort and ceremony to create their founding documents on actual paper. Bound together in what is known as the Druckenwell Ledger. Over the years, this paper and leather-bound book has been meticulously preserved and is a symbol of the right to rule for Druckenwell. I mean, until recently, of course, what with that band of rebels stealing it and blowing up half of the Imperial Governor's mansion in the process. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. With little exception, Druckenwell's minuscule island landmass, the planet is 90% ocean. The landmass was divided up and assigned to corporations. This created essentially the industrial version of city-states, as they walled themselves off from their competition and restricted access to only their own employees. These corporate city-states continued to buy and sell industrial development until nearly all of the planet's visible landmass was developed. Now, to understand what happened next, we have to talk a little bit about the planet's governing structure. In the Druckenwell Ledger, all corporate guilds agreed to view the planet itself as a corporation, and created for themselves shares of ruling power that they could buy and sell. The shares are only available to corporations, though, not individuals. I can't own one. I should be able to own one, but I can't. Companies holding shares send representatives to be part of the planetary board and vote on planetary laws and restrictions. The company with the most shares is the controlling shareholder, and they elect a single individual to serve as the executive, making them the de facto ruler of the planet until enough shares change hands to force a change. All of this is done at the founding capital city of Il-Valley. Being the seat of power for the planet, Il-Valley is one of those exceptions to the single company cities that I mentioned earlier. Il-Valley is a large city in the Coruscant style of the word. Not only does it house the government of the planet, its metro area also contains all the methods for legitimate import and export for the planet. All goods and diplomacy flow through Il-Valley, and it is huge. So seeing that more than 90% of the planet has been industrialized, the land part, the corporate elite team teamed up with the planetary board, and measures were put in place to preserve the remaining land as parks and resorts for the elite. Isn't it always for the elite? I don't know. That's just me. While also keeping pollution under control. They worked hard to create a stable class system and keep the blue and white collar positions separated, and restrict movement with passes to various zones within their cities. I mean, they went so far as to require proof of financial responsibility before issuing marriage licenses. But come on, is anyone surprised that a planet founded and run by corporations prioritizes profit over people? You shouldn't be. It's not all bad, though, as people are seen as valuable resources for the corporations, and they do enjoy protections as a result. Druckenwell hasn't always made the most savvy decisions on galactic diplomacy, though. They aligned early with the Trade Federation and were pulled into the Confederacy of Independent Systems at its beginning, and, well, we all kind of know how that ended, right? During the Clone Wars, something very interesting happened. At least I think it did. There aren't any official sources or documents on this, but it just seems too wacky to be true. And, you know how I believe in that kind of stuff. If it's strange, it might actually happen. You see, on the main continental island of Druckenwell, the whole southern half is the capital's metro area we were just talking about, and the northern half is some of those industrial city-states. However, there's a band in the center that is mostly marsh, and it's very hard to develop. It's called the Central Isthmus. Now, rumor has it, before the Clone Wars began, some Jedi were disillusioned and wanted to create an enclave for themselves, and a safe place to bring Force-sensitive children with their families to live in peace. They got so far as building much of the utopian city's infrastructure in the Central Isthmus. My guess is that the CIS thought if they could pull away some of the disillusioned Jedi, then their fight would be a little bit easier. However, after the betrayal of the Jedi to the Supreme Chancellor and the foundation of the Galactic Empire, well, the Central Isthmus project just kind of went up in smoke. Druckenwell officials have gone so far to deny that this was ever a thing, and they fast-tracked a project that paved a cover over the developed area with a massive shipping system called the TRE. This is an incredible engineering feat with a network of shipping container-sized pneumatic tubes and public highway. Now, the wayward Jedi founding of the Central Isthmus is largely legend, but the abandoned infrastructure, well, that's very real, even if all references are scrubbed from the HoloNet by Druckenwell officials. The government seems content to just leave things be. Many assume it's because tearing it down would be very expensive, but others recognize that the Central Isthmus helped solve another problem for a corporate-lead world. The unemployed of Druckenwell, too poor to leave the planet, flock by the thousands to scratch out a living in what is really Druckenwell's only truly free city. Now, don't get me wrong, it's an incredibly hard city to live in, with criminals and swoop gangs making up the majority of the power structure. But losing employment on Druckenwell means losing everything. So those that seek shelter in the Central Isthmus are, well, they're hardly the prey of the underworld there. They just don't have anything. Now, there are rumors of rebel sympathizers and insurrectionists operating out of a small bar in the Central Isthmus called the Dicey Cantina. However, it's worth noting that with the recent peaceful takeover of the planet's governance by the Empire, Imperial Governor Theo Katavu is making grandiose claims of cleaning up Druckenwell's underworld. Probably has something to do with that large-scale riot in SGI-9 a few weeks back, and rebels exploding a chunk of the governor's home and running off with the Druckenwell ledger. Theo has been pretty embarrassed by the rebel activity on his world, and we all know how forgiving a place the Empire is. So old Theo is pretty committed to cleaning up his reputation. Now, I know what you're asking is, what is the rebellion gonna do with that dusty old ledger? Well, that's getting into current events, and you were here for history. Or at least that's all they paid me for. So I think we're going to end it there.
Thanks to the University of Coruscant for making this episode possible. If you like Star Wars lore delivered just like that, you have to check them out. You can find them at universityofcoruscant.com and U of Coruscant on Twitter. And we're excited to announce that our second season will be out March 15th. To celebrate, we're doing a giveaway through Gleam. So check out the link in the show notes for all the cool ways to enter and the awesome prizes that'll be there. The raffle will be running through March 10th. Until next time, pull up a stool, and we'll see you then at the Dicey Cantina.